Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted this early in the morning to have very special guest all the way from the west coast of the United States of America. It's Anna Marie from San Francisco. So, good morning, Anna Marie.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Anna Marie, you've come all the way from San Francisco. Obviously, you must think that the United Kingdom is an important market for you. Is that the general feel from everybody in San Francisco?
Oh, yes, for heaven's sakes. The UK has been an important market for us for a very long time. It's in our top five. And right now, trends around number three for us. So we have always enjoyed lots of visitors from this beautiful country, and we look forward to welcoming more.
Excellent. Um, San Francisco, it's had some challenges recently. Generally, sort of almost like a brand image has been tainted somewhat, one might say. But so where are we at now with San Francisco? Sometime, well, it's only about a year since I've been there actually, but in that year, what's happened in the last year to 18 months with San Francisco?
Boy, so many changes. First of all, we have a new mayor, Daniel Lurie, and he has certainly hit the ground running. And I think the changes that you're talking about in San Francisco, we went through a difficult time following the pandemic, and coming out of that pandemic it was a long, hard row, but here we are, and the streets look great, and there's new museums that have opened up, and we certainly have lots of new Michelin star restaurants to celebrate. So things are really kind of like the Phoenix Rising, just like what's on our state flag. We've rebounded. So, all those folks who said don't ever count San Francisco out, boy, they were right, because we are back and we're better than we were before.
Good, good. And you've got some exciting big events coming up. In fact, next year you've got the World Cup.
That's right.
Do you have any special plans for the World Cup?
Well, besides seeing it, yes, of course. Well, we start the year off with the Super Bowl with the NFL. So that'll be very exciting. And never has a city hosted in the same year a Super Bowl and a World Cup in the same year. Those are two major mega events, as you know. But as far as FIFA, the World Cup goes, we're kind of waiting with everyone else to see what teams will be visiting us. And then, of course, welcoming the crowds with open arms. So, we hope that we have some really good matches, and it'll go on for a couple of weeks, but I think that the excitement that it brings from a worldwide crowd is going to be fantastic.
Excellent. In fact, I'm old enough. I went to the World Cup in 1994 in Palo Alto. I saw
Oh
the
my
USA
gosh.
USA versus Brazil on July the 4th. How about that?
How about that? That's very exciting. Well, it's just a little bit south of where you were before and in
Yes.
a much bigger pitch, as they say. So
Yeah,
I think it's going to be quite fabulous.
good. What are prospects like for international tourism? We mentioned at the opening of this discussion that UK is a very important market, but how are you feeling? How are you feeling confidence-wise about international tourism? There's been a lot of press coverage
Yeah.
from US travel, etc., in the last few weeks about concerns about it. How are you
Yeah.
feeling?
We remain very cautiously optimistic at this point. And the reason I say that is because, boy, the news is changing on a daily basis. And so we're having to pivot quite often. But I will say the folks that have told us that they've planned their event or their vacation, or even if they're coming for a convention or whatever, they've planned that so far in advance that we don't have a lot of data that would support that they're changing. In fact, last week we had the largest citywide conference for RSAC in town with the most international tourist and convention goers that we've ever had. Now, what's interesting about that is those folks probably booked that 3 to 4 months prior to coming. So it came in as, and in fact, bigger than expected. So right now we're kind of watching things and watching how things are trending, but so far it looks as though things are holding. I don't know that a lot of folks are booking now for the latter part of the year. I think they're being cautious, but as far as what the summer looks like, I think it looks okay. But we're always willing and able to welcome more. That's for sure.
Excellent, excellent. And convention, you mentioned convention business, obviously a big thing for you.
Yes.
How is that going? Are you, is that looking strong domestically as well as internationally?
Yes. So 2025 has been one of the strongest years we've had since pre-pandemic. We have close to 700,000 group room nights that will be coming in for our convention calendar this year. So 2025 looks very robust from a convention market perspective.
Excellent. And you mentioned again at the beginning that you've got some new museums. What else is new, going to be new in 25 and 26 that international and domestic travelers can look forward to?
Well, first of all, San Francisco has a plethora of riches of things to visit, as you know. So the old standbys are still there, whether it be the Painted Ladies and Lombard Street and the beautiful bay and so on and so forth. However, we have lots of new parks that have opened, the tunnel tops which have opened, and as I mentioned earlier, several new Michelin star restaurants have opened. And museums, the riches go on and on in San Francisco. So we're so happy to share the old and what is great and what people fell in love with for the first time, and then share with some of the new innovative things that have come about. You can take the oldest form of transportation in San Francisco, which is a cable car, and the newest form of transportation, which is a driverless vehicle, and they can be side by side sharing the roadway. So I think if you're looking for old and nostalgic, San Francisco is an amazing place. And if you're looking for new and innovative, San Francisco is an equally amazing place.
Very, very good. One of your bigger attractions might be changing roles, I understand, from the president, the Alcatraz.
Yes, I heard that too. you know, Sorry about that, but we welcome millions of visitors a year. The right kind of visitors, I'd like to say, to Alcatraz each year. And it's been one of our biggest and most popular tourist attractions in San Francisco. So, who's to say what will happen? But I can't imagine that opening back up for prisoners. I'm not so certain that that might happen given what would have to take place out there, but right now we welcome with open arms lots of visitors. It's the one of the number one tourist attractions in San Francisco, and of course, many movies have been shot there, and the views from there back to the city and even Sausalito are just fantastic. So we encourage you to get out and see Alcatraz for yourself.
Excellent. Well, Anna Marie, thank you very much for your time. I know from a jet lag perspective, you must be in an awful state if my personal experience is anything to go by, but you're looking wonderful. You're sounding wonderful.
Thank
Have a
you.
great trip. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Likewise. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Cheers.
Cheers.